I'm Dr. Wanita Mercer, and thank you for joining me today for another episode of Passionate Reflections about Holy Week. Today is Holy Saturday, and today I just really want to reflect on what was happening on this day in history. First, there's a mother who has lost a son, and she just didn't lose him, but she saw him die. One of the most horrible, violent, gruesome, painful, disgusting deaths that anyone could face. Even knowing what had to happen, and probably not even fully understanding what had to happen. To see your son hurting and in pain, your child, the one that you birthed into this world, and there's nothing you can do about it. So for those of us who have dealt with loss, and there was nothing we could do but watch it happen, the mother of Jesus knows how it feels. And what we can learn from her is to depend on God, to rely on Him for strength. And He will see us through it. Because she lived on. She could have curled up in a ball and decided to die there, but she didn't. She continued to live on and to be a mother to the disciples and those Jesus chose to walk with him. And in the field nearby, there's some strange fruit hanging from a tree. Judas. You see, after he had gone back to the Pharisees, after Jesus had been sentenced to death, he couldn't live with himself. He had felt so much shame and disgust and regret for what he had done. He said, I know that I have sinned. And they said, what business is it of ours, right? He had done what they needed him to do, and there was nothing more to be done. He threw the 30 coins that he felt was worthy of the betrayal at first. He threw those coins back at them. He went to a field and hung himself. And now the circle of 12 disciples is now 11. I know that the world can seem so heavy. I know that the mistakes that we make sometimes can cause us so much pain and pain for those around us that we wonder how we can ever move past it. How could we have been so wrong, so foolish, so hurtful, so evil, right? So mean, so conniving, just so ridiculous at times. And we all have those moments where we ask ourselves, how in the world did we allow ourselves to do that? How did we get to this place where we could cause so much hurt and pain? How did we do that? We've all been there. No one is so good that we're beyond making a horrible mistake. But I want you to know that God loves you and He has not counted you out. Please forgive yourself, because there's forgiveness waiting for you with Jesus. You are worth dying for. Jesus died for Judas. Jesus gave His blood for the new covenant for Judas. And He did it for you too. Jesus already died for you. There's no reason for you to die for yourself. So if you're struggling with thoughts of suicide, please talk to someone that you trust and get help. It's always darkest before the light. Hang in there. Please don't give up too soon. And then there's Peter, feeling so much shame and regret because he had denied Jesus 3 times, that he no longer even felt worthy to be called a disciple or a follower of Christ. But in Mark chapter 16, verse 7, the angel tells Mary, now go and tell his disciples, including Peter, that Jesus is going ahead of you to Galilee. You will see him there, just as he told you before he died. You see, the angel wanted Mary, and us reading this even today, to know that even though Peter had denied Jesus, Jesus had not denied him. And he was still a disciple that he could trust to carry out the gospel to the world. A disciple that he could trust and know that he loved him. Still. And let that be a message to us all that of all the mistakes that we made, the only thing we have to do is decide today to love him, to obey him. Because even the times when God should dismiss us or push us away or condemn us, he doesn't. He loves us. He loves us. And all he's saying is, get back up, dust yourself off, and keep moving forward. Keep walking with me. Keep trusting me. Keep loving me. God has not denied you, even though time and time again you may have denied him. Do not count yourself out. There are still 11 disciples. Then there are the priests and Pharisees who go to Pilate and petition for guards to be put at Jesus' tomb. Because who knows? Jesus just might actually do what he said he would do, and that's resurrect on day 3. And here it is. These men condemned Jesus for professing to be someone they didn't believe, but now they're concerned that he might do something he said he would do, right? And here we go. They put extra guards at Jesus' tomb, as if that could stop God's plan. And then there's a Roman soldier. There's a crowd and 11 disciples full of sorrow and many, many questions from what they've seen and experienced. The Roman soldier saying, I was wrong. This man was a Messiah. And we killed him. We beat him. We chastised him. We scoffed him. We spat at him. And he was God. And then there's a crowd, mix of followers of Jesus and those who hated him and everything that he stood for. Both with questions, right? What has happened here that these signs and wonders would happen around this man's death, right? And then his followers questioning, were we wrong? Was he really the Messiah? Why did he die? Why did he save himself? Why did this happen? And then for onlookers who are somewhere in between saying, who was this man that died a horrible death so gracefully that he asked God to forgive his aggressors? I can just imagine that in every house, every temple, there's just this cloud of questions and doubt that just hovers over the people. And people really trying to understand what just happened. And why do I feel the way that I do? Why do I feel as though things will never be the same? Why do we feel as though the most beautiful tragedy in the world has just happened? And then in Matthew chapter 28, verses 52 through 53, we see that something phenomenal has happened. People have experienced a miracle. An earthquake has shaken the tombs of godly, holy people, men and women, and they have returned to their families. What? With Christ's death, there was a resurrection? It was just a foretelling of the new life that was going to spring forth if we just wait. The new life that's coming for everyone who believes if we just wait. The new life that is coming for every doubter, every sinner that chooses to accept and love Jesus with all of their heart. Yeah, that was just a preview. And I can just imagine how happy, how excited, how scared, how amazed their loved ones were to see them resurrected and return to them. And then there's just the stillness, the waiting, the silence, that meantime between despair and hope, doubt and faith, fear and courage, mourning and dancing, and death and resurrection. The meantime is mean, but just hang in there, y'all, because God's not done yet. That's it for today's reflection. Join me tomorrow for our last episode of Passionate Reflections, where we talk about the resurrection of Jesus. And remember, in everything you do and with everything you have, love God and love people. Goodbye.